What's up, He-Man fans? It's the Emerald Enthusiast, the co-host of I Have the Power, a He-Man podcast, here with a look at the Mattel deluxe Masterverse figure of Hordak. I recently found this figure in the wild and on sale. In fact, you can see my figure hunting video right here on YouTube. But that being said, let's take a closer look at the package details now. We get some really cool artwork on this side of the package. On the top, it says Masterverse. On the bottom, we get some product information. And on the side, it says Hordak, ruthless leader of the evil horde. On the back, we get headshots of the other figures available in this wave. There's a brief biography, and we see some exquisite artwork of Hordak. Here's a close-up of the bio. If you'd like to read this, go ahead and pause the video and do so now. This figure is part of the 40th anniversary collection. It comes with a plethora of accessories, and I can wait no longer. Now it's time to bust this figure out of the package and see what's inside. And here we see Hordak out of the package and ready to rumble. The search for this figure was long, but it was certainly worth it. There are so many things to like about this figure, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at the loose details now. Let's have a look at the accessories now, and we'll start with the energy blast effect here. Really good sculpting on this. Here is the shield, and this is my favorite accessory. It has some battle damage on it, but I really like the sculpting, as well as this very vibrant red plastic. Here is the alternate arm. Good sculpting on the forearms, and the biceps and the triceps. This peg here just ports into the shoulder joint. It's a very easy switch over from one arm to the other. Here's the claw hand. Alternate set of hands here. One's a gripping hand. The other is like a trigger hand for the crossbow. Speaking of, here is the crossbow. I like the fusion of the different plastics here. And that just sits on his arm. So if you are a fan of Hordak, you've got to be impressed with all of these accessories. Let's have a look at the lower body now. And for the most part, I'm really satisfied with what Mattel did here. He's a little bit more top-heavy than I thought he would be, but at least we have really good articulation on the feet. So you do have that to help stabilize him. I really like the way the boots are done. The detail here is just superb. Good musculature. The blue color choice for the skin is accurate, so I certainly appreciate that. In terms of articulation, you can get the foot to go back that far. You can get it to come forward that much. There's pivoting here at the top of the boot. I really like that. He also has pinless double-jointed knees, and you can get those to go up really far. So if you want to get him into a running pose, you certainly can. He has the quadriceps swivel, so you can get his leg to turn outward and inward. You can get him into a pretty deep side-kicking pose, although there is one articulation issue. You can get him to step back a little bit, but the loincloth here is really restrictive when you try to get him to kick forward. And it feels like you're stressing the plastic if you try to force it, so be very careful there. He can kick forward with this leg slightly more, but it still looks like he's falling over as opposed to actually kicking. Let's have a look at the torso now, and the armor is extremely well done. You can see how exact the paint is here on the chest symbol, and these little bones that have been rendered as part of the armor. I also like that metallic paint that you see on the belt. And here's a look at the detail on the back. I've unfastened this armor piece, and I'm going to show you what the figure looks like without it. You can pop off the head sculpt and unfasten the armor on either side, and this is a look at Hordak without all of that. Lots of superb sculpting here. The musculature looks great. You can see plenty of definition back here on the latissimus dorsi. He pivots at the waist and he moves freely here at the upper torso swivel. He doesn't crunch forward very far, but you can get him to rock back somewhat. So now let's take a look at that chest armor. As you can see, this does lift off, and you can actually detach the cape from this as well. You can separate the neck piece up here, and then you can remove the cape. We've seen this type of material on other Masterverse capes, and it still looks a little cheap to me. But nonetheless, overall, this is a collector-centric level of detail on this piece. Let's have a look at the arms now. And there's lots of good work that went into not only the texturing here, but the way that the arm cannon looks. So this is an accurate representation of those technomorphing abilities that he has. Here's a look at the alternate arm on the figure, and it's very easy to switch these arms out, even without removing the armor. You can get his arms to move up like that. He does have a bicep swivel. You can get them to move out this far. So if you want to get him into that big power pose, you can. 360 degrees of rotation, good movement at the wrist. And this one's a little tighter than the other one. But yeah, if you want to get him into like a bear hug pose, you can certainly do that. Let's have a look at the head sculpt now. And I really like this ivory coloring. It looks like a skull, but at the same time, it looks alive. And I really appreciate that. Good paint applications on the mouth and the eyes. There's lots of good sculpted detail up here on the head fin, as well as over here on the ears. And again, I have to appreciate this bone motif and the way that the head fits into that armor piece. You can get him to look side to side easily enough, but the armor piece hinders his head movement just a little bit, especially if you try to get him to look up. But he does look down somewhat. So overall, I don't think that's a big negative for this figure. Here's a look at the figure with the crossbow. And I really like that translucent red plastic on this accessory. And you can put this crossbow on either arm. So you can take this gripping hand and just insert it on the inside of the shield. And he holds the shield very snugly. I also took the wrist armor piece off, but I just really appreciate the way that looks. It's very creepy. Here is the figure with the energy blast effect, and I really like the fact that it's sculpted to look like there's energy exploding out of the cannon. Again, this is a collector-centric figure, and you can see that in the level of detail on all of the accessories here. This just looks magnificent as a display piece. Here is the crossbow on the alternate arm, which has an alternate hand on it, and this is the one that has the trigger finger, and even though there's no handle, it does look like he is pulling the trigger on the crossbow. I certainly hope you have enjoyed this review. If so, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for some articulation shots, and also remember to catch me on the Multiverse Musings vidcast, available right here on YouTube. And I'll be back to the internet with more Masters of the Universe related content soon. But until we meet again, this has been the Emerald Enthusiast, and thanks for watching.